Hey everyone, welcome back to TDD Season 8. This is the Week 3 recap. We are coming to you today from Petrichor 5's Moon, or I think that's what you called it. How you feeling about it?
I'm feeling pretty good. Our sequence of events here is looking a little dire, but we have a lot of cool items. If you look under you, we have a lot of cool scrap, which we did not get from the prior moon we went through. So that's good.
Yeah, assuming we don't die on the moon in outer space, I think we
Yeah,
can maybe cover rent for this month.
I mean it's good that I'm no longer in charge because I got us into this situation. Thankfully, though, we have bears, which is that's gonna save us. It's really coming in clutch.
Yeah, sure, I don't know what the bears do, but that'll be
Hey, Juice,
fine.
what are our matches this week?
What are our matches? We have 1 from Quick, 2 from Timer this week. It's going to be a little bit of a shorter episode, so we don't get obliterated by Mithrix there in the back. Say hi.
Hi, Mithrix. Mithrix, we're gonna get this episode out on time, I swear.
This time for sure. Okay.
Yeah, please don't pizza us.
All right, let's get into game 1 then.
Yep, let's do it.
So, this is our first game, our only quick ball match of the week, Taxpayers versus Whiskey's Crew. Talk to me about Stormy's team, just to get us started.
Okay. Stormy's looking at their basically their full roster of like S through Bs, but Pincurchin is here. Who is gone?
Zygarde 10.
Zygarde's gone. Okay. Yeah, I don't mind this so much. I think like the ground typing is somewhat useful against some of the like Ampharos has been a pretty good mainstay for Whiskey. The instant is there. The grass type on this team does not resist ground, so in a way, like the ground offense would have been nice, but it's also kind of a frail Pokemon, and I don't think it does too well in Trick Room. So I don't mind leaving it at all. I actually think that this is maybe the perfect 6. Like Pincurchin is really important to bring here because of electric terrain. Kind of just single-handedly shuts down Amoonguss sleep strats. And then for the other B tiers, like, are you going to leave behind your competitive Pokemon when the opponent has 2 Intimidators? Are you going to leave behind a ground immunity when they have Ursaluna? I think just solid brings as far as the team.
Yeah, for sure. No, I think this is the right top 6. I think Pincurchin, very funny here, but it's also really helpful to boost the Valiant, and like you mentioned, to provide the Spore immunity. Looking over on Whiskey's side, we have the top 3. We're missing 2 B tiers. I believe it's Hatterene and one more. Gyarados is missing in place of Articuno and Ampharos. Gyarados makes sense. That would be another Intimidator into this competitive Melodic, which is not fun.
Yeah,
and Hatterene just has a
struggle
on the top 2, I think. Has Ampharos come every game? I think so.
Yeah, I think Ampharos is a good pick here anyway. Like, if you're expecting, I was with Whiskey over the weekend, and we talked a little bit about the match before it happened. He was expecting the electric terrain to come, so knowing that, having your own electric type that is, being able to benefit from that, a very powerful benefitter at that is good.
Yeah.
There are only a couple water resist or electric resists on Stormy's team, and the ones that exist don't resist resist dragon.
Sure. And what's the Articuno for here, you think?
I think this was a contingency in case Trick Room did not go up. I think that's all it is, really.
Okay.
It can hit Valiant, it can hit Ogerpon.
Crobat too.
I think it's carrying Freeze Dry, so it can hit Melodic. I don't know if that's true.
It is, yes.
Okay, then yeah, that's what it's for.
Okay, fair enough. It's nice to have a faster, I'm calling Articuno fast here, Pokemon for, even if you do get Trick Room up, sometimes you can't get it up multiple times, or, Fourgeist goes down. It's good to have a backup plan for after Trick Room, just have something to clean up the game. Articuno's pretty good at that.
Yep, and then, the rest of Whiskey's team is very scary Trick Room stuff. It's Amoonguss, the Ursaluna, the Furry Giraffe, Incineroar even, just scary Pokemon. Ampharos, literally, like, if Trick Room goes up here, Stormy will have a bad time.
Sure. Okay, I'm going to start the game then. So, Whiskey's team is pretty dependent on Trick Room, so it shouldn't be a surprise to see the something with Trick Room in the lead here. And we see the Farigiraf right off the bat.
Yeah, you only have one Trick Room user that actually was brought to the match, so it should have been a pretty obvious lead. So I have a lot of questions about the move selection for turn 1 for Stormy. Double targeting the Articuno makes sense if you're approaching it from the perspective of Valiant being threatened. But as you can see, Valiant did take the hit okay. The special attack drop probably helped it live there, but I don't know. Maybe the Valiant sashed or something. Anyway, so
It is.
But you've allowed Trick Room to go up absolutely for free. And instead of Whiskey having to deal with like, well, now I have to switch the Articuno out and get my Ursaluna in, now Whiskey just gets to bring the Ursaluna in for free. So, not the best way to approach the anti-Trick Room team, because you're sort of playing into what allows them to sweep the rest of this first few turns.
Yeah. One thing that you tend to run into with Trick Room teams, Articuno doesn't super do this, but you tend to get a Trick Room setter and some mon that helps Trick Room go up. They tend not to have a ton of damage output between them. So a lot of the times, even if Trick Room does go up, as long as you don't kill either slot immediately, they have to spend time switching their Trick Room or in. You can deal damage on that turn, and you might be able to get through the threats that way. That's a lot of what happens on just classic, like, Torkoal Trick Room teams, for example.
Do you know what I think is, like, the perfect anti-Trick Room strat that Stormy has? I don't know if they have to go up against any other Trick Roomers this season, but Whirlwind Crobat.
Whirlwind Crobat, just click it on the Trick Room setter?
Yeah, like, what are you going to do? Fake it out? It's got inner focus.
You're right, actually. I don't think there's any, like, hard Trick Room teams this season, but... Well, yeah, that could have been funny. Yeah, besides this one, I mean.
Anyway,
but, yeah.
That's all. My note about really just... I can understand feeling the pressure on the Valiant. But Trick Room going up is the absolute worst case scenario for turn 1. And that's
for sure.
Almost guaranteed if you don't look at the giraffe.
Because we got the bear.
Yep, and now the bear comes in for free. Ally Switch comes out, which is allowing the Calm Mind, which we'll see in a sec. Sucker Punch, or not Sucker Punch, Vacuum Wave.
Vacuum Wave going to get eaten by the Armor Tail. That's just one of those interactions, but we've seen people get caught out by that a couple times, so I'm not going to focus on it too much.
Yeah, I do think the Valiant 40. Carrying it is fine.
Yeah, no, it should carry it. I think it makes sense. But, yeah, Liquidation going to do 40% before Hyper Voice picks up 2. Now we get the Melodic.
They probably would have done a little more to the bear.
Yeah.
Look, that was an Ally Switch, so, you know, they could have done more. We see Amoonguss coming in, though, so the hard switch out. If you're hard switching out here into the Amoonguss, what do you think Whiskey's trying to do with it?
I mean, it might just be about... I mean, you can't set sleep right now. It could be about just preserving Farigiraf for later. Maybe you think you might need more Trick Room later, and you'd rather just, okay, let me get my Amoonguss in, let me protect this thing from the Pokemon that'll switch in, and just
all that's very true and valid. But with what we're about to see, I'm not sure what the plan was. I guess, I don't hate what we're about to see, but I was expecting Rage Powder is what I was really getting at here. I guess the Ogerpon there does sour that a bit.
Yeah.
But, I mean, Ogerpon probably dies to a +1 Earth Power, maybe?
It should.
It's not really that bulky.
Depends on the set,
so I feel like you could Rage Powder, Earth Power, and then deal with the Melodic the next turn.
Yeah, I mean, probably. But, we'll see. Ogerpon leaves. And now, that was the end of the turn. So there's a new turn, Pollen Puff to heal up this bear to full.
Yep.
Scald
I wonder if, like,
79. Wow.
Yeah, that does a lot through special defense. I guess Bear doesn't have a lot to begin with.
And we're going to see an Effect Spore sleep onto the Crobat, who is above the electric terrain, because this is Effect Spore Amoonguss.
Yeah, I mean, I would never have thought in a million years I'd see Effect Spore Amoonguss in a real match, so I cannot blame Stormy at all. And it doesn't matter, because the Crobat's going to die in a sec anyway.
Yeah. We saw that he put one attack into each Pokemon. One in the Scald into the Bear, and then the Brave Bird into the Amoonguss. Obviously, you might not know the calcs there, But I think the problem that you run into is the bear protected on turn 4. We're on turn 5. It can't protect again. I think if you double the slot, bear goes down. Or something has to switch in. And, like,
Yeah.
what's going to switch in? Ampharos
And
can
the other thing,
kind of.
no, I agree. The other thing though is like, if you are worried about the calcs, you don't know what if you're not running calcs here, and you think that maybe the scald's enough, like targeting into that slot that cannot protect is pretty safe, because if it does kill, then the brave bird just gets redirected into the Amogus anyway. Um,
Oh, you're right, yeah.
so
If you
I
don't
think
know the
there's no
set.
reason not to double target. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. But that's going to be the end of the Crobat. And we're back to normal speed tiers here. So we've survived with the SA and the Melodic. Obviously a hard sell to survive past this. There's the Protect, and the Ivy Cudgel just going to pick up the kill here.
Yep.
This bear is kind of dead at this point, unless you get a very funny Trick Room off. But
yeah, switching it out though.
I mean, if you get a Trick Room, it can still pop off.
Yep.
We're going to see Follow Me here. No Fake Out, just Flare Blitz from this non-Intimidate Blaze Incineroar to dodge
I think
the
it worked
competitive
out. I mean,
boost.
that would have procced competitive right there, so
Yeah.
we're getting away with that one. Ampharos did take a lot from Scald, not having Dragon typing yet. Now
True.
it's Dragon type and is walling the Melodic a little better, but it is sitting at half health, so it's not the most comfortable.
Yep.
Targets the Ogerpon, not the Melodic. I like it,
Yeah.
actually.
I think it makes sense.
Yeah, with what's left on the field, like, the Melodic has to die eventually, but I think the getting the Jirachi in and then having like the Ampharos pick up the Melodic later is fine.
Yeah, for sure. At this point, the ally switch is revealed. I can't really fault Stormy for just missing the 50-50 on ally switch. It's just one of those things where it's like, well, let's go gambling. But
Yep.
we are locked into Iron Head at this point, so not much we can do beyond that. Here's the Incineroar Classic Fake Out, and I believe that's going to be the KO here with Thunder.
Yeah, what do you think really, not like an individual term, but just overall, what went wrong here for Stormy?
I think there was a lot of, so the kind of the weakness of, one of the weaknesses of Trick Room in, at least hard Trick Room in a draft format, is normally in like a ladder setting or a tournament setting, you don't know your opponent's going to have Trick Room. You have to build your team to cover everything, which means you have to invest in speed and not in bulk a lot of the times. In a draft, you don't have to do that. If you see your opponent's running hard Trick Room, you 252 that HP stat instead of this speed, and you're suddenly have way more staying power. And a lot of the power that Trick Room gives you of having speed control without investing in speed is gone. I think Stormy just invested a lot into speed. There was, there was a Scarf in there, there was some Tailwind stuff, and just didn't really respect the Trick Room. So as soon as it went up, we're missing those extra bulk points. We're missing ways to, sustain through it. I'm not seeing many protects here either in the first place, which are pretty important for surviving Trick Room anyway.
Yeah, I think Valiant was also speed boosting nature. There's some free offense in there, right? If you go special attack or attack boosting nature.
And get the
sorry,
the Quark
like
Drive special
that's
attack,
what I was talking
right?
about. Sorry, the Quark boosting, not the nature boosting.
Yeah, I think just in general, a little bit more protect to sustain through the Trick Room. Just because by the time it went down, we were down 3 Pokemon. And just focus more on, if they're going to run hard Trick Room and you pretty much know it, put those points elsewhere and adjust your sets so that you have a little bit more staying power, would be my recommendation.
Yeah, like I said before, I think Stormy brought the right 6 Pokemon.
For sure.
Maybe just the sets would have been better off a little bulkier, like you're saying now.
Yeah, for sure.
But overall, I mean, I think this is a good learnable match, even though if we don't have another dedicated Trick Room team for Stormy to play throughout the rest of the season, it's good knowledge going forward.
And all things considered, besides this Incineroar, everything else is, Bears at 20%, Giraffes at 17%, and Sheep is under 40%. So not too far off, just Whiskey doing a good job of preserving the diff at the ends there. But a little bit closer than it appears. But yeah, definitely something to take from that. on the whole, I think that's it for this game, unless you have anything else.
Nope, I think I'm good. We can move on here.
All right, let's get to timer ball then. All right, and we're back for our game 2. This is Neighbearhood Watch versus Team Fourgeist. We've got the Funny Bear and the Psychic Terrain friends versus Hamster Wings Hyper Offense. How's Burnt's team looking to you? I think it's just plus War Turtle minus Pheasantipity here.
That makes sense. I mean, you want to have a bulky redirector in like a hyper offense scenario, I think. And then the Pheasantipity is a psychic weakness, and you're like supplying the enemy Gardevoir with expanding force. So that totally checks out.
Yeah, I believe in week 2 we saw that was versus Ned. We saw Hamster Wings set up Psychic Terrain manually with a lead sack like Meowstick or something. And then just went to town with Expanding Force. So this thing taking advantage of the enemy Psychic Terrain should be no surprise here.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. I think that's good prep from Burnt. Urshifu's here to hit things through Protect and take names. We got Spectrier, which, again, I think is a scary Pokemon. Is very boxed in, I think, as far as its move pool goes.
Not this
that
game.
Being said, that being said, I don't see a lot of answers to it beyond like Chinchino, I guess, as like a Shadow Ball switch in, but it's I think Chinchino loses the Speed War there, unless it's like some weird nature that Burnt chose.
Yeah.
And when I say weird, I guess I just mean like not timid. So even then, like, I don't know. Does Chinchino get like knockoff? Maybe it's got that. I'm not sure.
It probably gets it. I don't know if it's running it. In general, when it comes to Spectrier, I think Spectrier is kind of boxed in as an attacker, but I think I mentioned in the overcap, or in the overview, it has a lot more utility than one would think if you lean into it. And I think that's exactly what Burnt does this game. Kind of. Not in the when I was talking to him about utility Spectrier, I didn't really mean in the way that he did it this game, but we'll see. We'll get there.
I genuinely forget what happens.
Well,
so I'm excited.
You're going to find out the fun way.
What about Hamster's team?
We've got Jellicent and the aforementioned Chinchino subbing in. I believe we are missing the Naganadel, and we are missing Mamoswine. Mamoswine's kind of neutral into this team and probably gets a little bit outsped, so I get leaving it.
Yeah, it also can't run Ice Shard like it usually wants to.
Yeah, and Naganadel gets exploded by Psychic. So fair enough.
Yeah.
I guess I don't really understand what Jellicent does. It's just kind of like it kind of like is out of place on the hyper offense team, and I think it's just like it's high bulk to sustain through size spam, but it doesn't really resist it, and it doesn't fire back that hard. So I'm not really sure what it's doing.
I guess one element that it's kind of pesky for is Curse Body. Like, if you switch in on size spam, you're not taking too much damage. And if you get the Curse Body proc like that, indeed he has to leave. The Armor Rouge has to leave. Whatever, shot it off. But I think it's not doing anything to Spectrier despite being the Ghost type. Like, I didn't do the calc. I'm talking out my ass here. But I imagine Spectrier wins those, right?
It's a Spectrier. If you should win those, it hurts.
I would hope so. But yeah, it's here.
Notably, Shiftry not coming despite being a Dark type. So Hamsterwing's not thinking he needs a Psychic immunity this game, which is interesting.
Well, I think that like even though it's not like you might not need the immunity, having the offensive presence of a Shiftry though seems nice, right? Like
the Fake Out does get eaten by the Psychic Terrain, so it loses some utility.
You don't
there.
need that. I mean, it's got Wind Rider if you're running Tailwind, which I think you are here. You can do just knock off things, like things will die. You sash it, so it's like if you sash it into this team, I think it's at least trading for its life, right?
Probably, which I mean, you take that. If you're not comfortable in your higher tiers and you just want to bring a C tier to trade with, why not, right?
Yeah.
So
Shiftry has a pretty deep move pool too. Like it could do other stuff.
Oh, for sure. Yeah,
anyway.
I think that's it on team preview.
This is the first time. This is not the first time we're seeing Vivillon, right?
No, I don't think so.
It's not. It came already.
Yeah. I'm gonna start the game then.
Okay.
Yeah. No, it's Vivillon. I think we've talked about Vivillon before. We're
Yeah,
gonna see it in
you
the
said
lead
that.
here. And we're gonna immediately swap into Gardevoir. You can tell that Hamster really wants this MVP for the season on the Mega Gardevoir. And Vivillon's just going to go down after setting Tailwind. This is the second time this season Hamster has led with a Mon whose job is to set up for the team and then die.
Yeah,
The other
I mean, it's a
being
hyper
last
offense
week.
team, so.
Yeah, it makes sense. I think you could try to shut it down in the future with like Taunt or something instead of just killing it and giving the free switch similar to what we saw in the Trick Room before.
No Intimidate, so you know that thing's Rockhead,
Could be Flash Fire.
I guess, but it did just take a fire move, so no, it cannot be.
Sure, okay, yeah, it is Rockhead. But yeah. Hyper Voice gonna do
Turtle
41.
is living that. Oh my goodness.
He's so fat. That's my guy.
Just taking advantage of Burnt's own Psychic Terrain to get some really solid offensive pressure down. Psychic Terrain is here for another turn. We get the last chance to get that Psychic Seed proc. We get a Tailwind, and that thing is living. The Genesect.
Mystical Fire gonna take the boost.
That's a Phantom
That is
Sash.
not a Focus Sash, by the way. It doesn't
That's a
matter,
Phantom
but
Sash.
it's gone now. So Burns down to 3 Pokemon versus the 5. U-Turn gonna crit for 67%. And I think Heat Wave, I don't know if that matters, if the crit
That
matters.
might have mattered.
It might have mattered.
I mean, special defense is really high on
For sure.
on Mega Guard, and that was like a neutral, unboosted hit.
Yeah, for sure. So I think it probably mattered. Nobody wants that. Here's
But look at
Utility
this.
Spectrier. It is. I meant like Will-O-Wisp when I said Utility Spectrier, not high speed bulldoze weakness policy for no psychic terrain, expanding force armor rogue. But hey, to each their own.
Yeah, I'm so hyped for this. I
I'm hyped
love
for this.
Armor Rouge's design, and then there's Wicked Blow to take care of the thing that Armor Rouge can't really do much to, and then it's just gonna clean the rest of this game up.
And then
Really
Urshifu's
really
gonna
nice
take
come
it
from
up.
behind victory.
Yeah, I mean, just throughout this entire game, Burnt was kind of running very low on just team HP and ways to switch around and pivot. And throughout this whole game, he just finds ways to barely get through it, barely switch in, live on like 17%, and then, make something of it. So
He is the Neighbearhood watch.
get out.
All right.
I'm kidding. We have another one to record. Please don't leave yet.
Okay, I'll stay.
But yeah, I
But yeah.
think in general, this was just very well played. I think I don't think there's a ton to say. This was cool. That was mysteriously supportive Spectrier set with the bulldoze.
I think like as a spectator who's also made funny strats occasionally, like I just have to imagine Burnt was popping off when that actually like aligned so well, because maybe he played that 4D chess and like 3 turns ahead of time was like, this is when I'll click bulldoze and plan for it. But I think it seems like it just worked, In prep, he was like, what if these two are on the field at the same time and I need to clean up after I'm in a deficit? And then it happened.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think he probably wanted to have an Armor Rogue sweep at some point. I assume he plans to have Psychic Terrain up for when that happens instead of clicking Raw
Yeah.
Expanding Force. But, I mean, hey, if it kills, right?
Yeah, I mean, I guess you're single target damage, so it's sort of comparable, but like the Psychic Terrain boost probably makes up for that, so it's definitely less damage.
Yeah, for sure. No, I mean, I don't think there's a ton to say about the match. I think this is the coolest match of the week to me. I think this was really fun.
This is the only cool match of the week.
This is the only cool match of the week. Guys, we got to talk about this next week. Please, I need content.
Yeah, we were starved here. You're going to hate this next one. Let's just send it.
No. Well, I guess we can move on to the next one, unfortunately.
Yeah, good game. Thanks for being our only content this week, Hamster and Burnt.
Thank you. So we're on to our third match and final match of this recap. We are at Ancient Suns versus Golden Gods. Diggory is holding me at gunpoint and forcing me to cover another one of his games here.
And I'm gonna get away with it too because I'm in charge.
Not
Except
after
I'm
this week.
not after this week. Yeah. No, I mean really, we really do want to stick to at least 3 matches a week, and I'm corrupt, and I didn't really think there were any good matches beyond the first 2, so I'm showing mine.
I think there's some interesting stuff in this match on the whole, for the first 90% of it. But
yeah, we're gonna pretend like some of the last 10% didn't happen.
yeah,
But as far as prep goes here, I decided I was gonna do what I've been doing and prep for like the weather in a way that doesn't fully just say like I'm gonna set something else. I do end up setting something else, but
you mean like a counter
my
weather?
yeah, my first
Okay.
my first 3 is this even true? I don't know. My first 3 weeks were all like weather teams more or less. We had Platinum Dawn's sort of rain team with our Chaludon. I had the hard rain team with Meteor Bauer, who didn't bring his rain team, so that didn't work out. And then now I have the sun team. And in all of these, I've tried to like prep stuff that was good into the weather that they were expected to bring, instead of just saying like I'm gonna do the rain dance in the sun team. While I do have that this week, like I'm doing stuff like chlorophyll Venusaur. I've got weather ball and some things that are like kind of needing the fire part of that weather ball. What else? Morning Sun was definitely on this Arcanine at some point. I don't remember if I kept it. Okay. So yeah, that's part of it. And then like I do have the rain dance on the Blastoise because it does make my life a little less ass into some of these Pokemon.
Yeah.
And as far as what I'm expecting, most of what I expected came here. I definitely should have expected the Shuckle and then just didn't. But luckily, a different last-minute decision made it so that I didn't just auto-lose to Shuckle.
I mean, when you originally sent, like, your version of this team, I don't remember who was here in place of Goldengo. It was something else. And then I think at the last minute you were like, hang on a second, I've built Mono loses to Aerodactyl. Maybe let's not do that. It was Jugulus?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, another Aerodactyl lose.
Yeah, a Steel Ghost type coming into the Sun team again.
This time for sure.
This time for sure. It just has to click Make It Rain.
It just has to not be I was about to say Aerodactyl. Aegislash.
No, Aegislash pop. I wouldn't say popped off, but it did things. I'm not gonna cyberbully Aegislash in a video it's not in.
Yeah, Techno's already gonna murder me for showing this match.
Looking at Peanut's side, we are missing all of B tier. They are all gone.
Where did they go?
They are on vacation. They did not survive the moon on the way to Mithrix.
What is okay? It's Clefairy, Serena, and Magnezone.
So Lilligant in place of Serena, we talked about it last time. They're kind of interchangeable. Lilligant's a faster option with the chlorophyll boost.
Yeah, I don't have a lot of priority either, so I get that.
Yeah. Clefairy and Magnezone. I mean, Magnezone was like, Steel is a little annoying for you, but you have the fire, the counter fire from Sun Boosted Arcanine, and you have Earth Power, so...
I think the Magnezone's better than the Lilligant here, to be real, because like I'm assuming Lilligant's just here to not to kill Blastoise, but Magnezone does that too, and Blastoise gets worse coverage for dealing. Like I guess I get like Stomping Tantrum, maybe Bulldoze or something, but
you
like
get Aurasphere.
I'm good. Oh, I do. Well, I can carry Ice Beam for the Lilligant, and I think that the Lilligant's Grass typing is a little bit worse against like Venusaur and Kyurem, whereas like Magnezone covers Blastoise, but also covers the Kyurem and the Venusaur pretty well. I mean, the Venusaur carries Earth Power.
It does,
just
but
the Kyurem.
Even then, like, you know, I don't know. One of the big weaknesses of Kyurem is the fact that it doesn't hit Steel. So usually bringing him to Steel is pretty nice. I would have liked to see Magnezone, but I mean, I'm sure there's a reason it didn't come. Aerodactyl subbing in for one of the two makes perfect sense. Rock is kind of nasty into your entire team besides Goldengo, and the flying coverage is just, you know, one of the ways that you can actually kill Venusaur. So Aerodactyl makes a ton of sense here.
Yeah. I mean, like you said earlier, like when I thought about Aerodactyl and then looked at my first iteration of this team, I was like, hang on. I know that Goldango is gonna cry in the corner when sun's up, but like, he has to be here.
He has to be here, or I just die to Aerodactyl.
Yeah, I mean, it was either that or put Tinkaton in, and I didn't really think Tinkaton was gonna do too much.
No, I mean, yeah, my second steel type that also falls over to the sun, so may as well bring the better one.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm gonna get the cat match started here unless you have anything else.
Just sad that Rabambi doesn't get Rain Dance, that's all I'm gonna say.
I think you had it on the set initially, and then we're like, hang on, that's a crime.
It was in my mental set. I don't think I ever put it
Okay.
in, because like I build a little bit in Team Builder before I'm
Sure.
writing stuff down.
Okay. All right, I'm getting us started then. I'm
All my
scared
nicknames
you
are
say
fun
the chat.
sun songs, like
Mhm.
about not liking the sun to
Yep.
an extent.
We're seeing lead Shuckle, lead Protect, Mega Charizard Y. That's the classic right there.
Yeah, I could see why
Immediately
that's
gets
like.
overwritten.
I mean, the fake out threat was there.
No, I mean,
could
you
carry
protect,
Thunderbolt.
but you can't switch out there because you have to spend a turn setting up the sun, even though it's going to get overwritten by the Rain Dance. Shuckle living that Make It Rain doesn't matter because it's sunny, or it's sturdy, and Sunny Day just going to pop here to get the Walking Wake back online. Flamethrower
Yeah.
going to do something.
That is something that like didn't calc at the time, but should have realized it was Assault Vest because that should have killed.
Yeah, it should have died, for sure.
I just was playing this a little bit hasty,
Yeah.
I think.
Shuckle getting switched out there to be saved for later in the game. I feel like it's hard to make use of 3 HP Shuckle, but it's always a sack, so if you can get away with it. But Lilligant's just going to come in, nearly die on the way in, and Tusk just going to instantly fall over.
Yeah, I think you definitely should have kept this Shuckle in to die, like especially where like the Goldango has to lose special attack to do spread damage, you know?
Yeah,
So even like the Lilligant taking the +1s Make It Rain on this turn,
it's
or
tough.
the +0 one would have been better, yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
But Charizard's
And-
back in, the sun is up.
Goldango's going
You
to
were gonna say
protect.
something?
No, that's it. I mean, Shuckle kind of already did its job with the hazards, so I think for the most part, you can just try to deny Blastoise the Rapid Spin, assuming it's carrying it.
Arcanine comes in is at 18% because of rocks in a double target.
Yep.
But it does have enough HP to do that, and then die.
And then fall over, yeah.
Yeah. So I felt like I was in a pretty good spot here. I just needed, like, if I could get the rain back up and start clicking Make It Rain again here, that was pretty good. The fake out is to cover for Sash, and
Yeah.
then make sure that it kills. Shuckle does come in as a nice sack here, and also on the turn that Sun was going to go down, so we can set it back up again. But
Yeah.
at the same time, you have no more switch outs, so the Sun is, if the Sun goes down, it is permanently down. So this
Yeah.
makes Peanut's play here pretty good because he correctly calls out what I'm trying to do, which is to set up Rain Dance one last time.
For sure. Yeah, unfortunately, no Protect on the Aerodactyl set there, so there was no way around the Fake Out Make It Rain.
Yep.
Just kind of unfortunate, but that's just what happens sometimes. Goldango's going to Protect. It's taking stat drops. Hydro Steam's not going to kill. Heat Wave
These
will,
webs are doing a lot.
for
I'll say
sure.
that. Like,
Yeah,
my stuff in the back would have been a lot better if the webs were not up.
yeah,
My
I
position
mean,
here is feeling really bad.
yeah, despite being down to 2 Pokemon and Walking Wake down to just 15% or so, kind of a strong position. You've got 4 turns left of Sun. Charizard Y has survived to the end game.
Yeah, props to him. He's alive.
He's alive.
Past
He's
turn
full.
1.
He's living his best life. I mean, he
Luckily
end
for
games
me-
last week too, but
I have a secret weapon in my pocket. It is an Occa Berry on this Goldango, and I'm going to make 0 use of it.
yeah. Well, I
Yeah.
want to see it pop off. Here's Terravolt.
Yeah, so protect, cure him, because I figured that was going to be targeted. And then Flamethrower in the Sun from a Zard Y. He's alive. What does he click? The move that doesn't kill Walking Wake, because I didn't run the calc and didn't notice that it was Assault Vest because I'm bad at the game.
And because, well, your -1 special attack, it's Assault Vested, it's a resist.
Yeah.
Shadow Ball, I assume, just kills there.
Yeah, so what I did was like, I did like the poor man's calc of like, I threw it in there, didn't change the set of Walking Wake or like experiment with it to try to figure out what it was doing based on past damage, I was just like, cool. Unless he's running some silly, amounts of special defense, which he's probably not, because I already looked at the HP value. Then, and when I say that, I mean like typically when you see a 12 EVs of HP on Suicune, it's telling you that it's like the exact amount of EVs taken away from a special attack to be able to speed boost, and then the rest goes
Right.
into HP. Anyway, so yeah, I didn't notice the AV, and I should have lost the game for that.
Yeah, which
But,
is kind of funny because
yeah.
you ran Assault Vest Walking Wake into me back in Season 7. So here it is again to haunt you.
I don't think it's a bad. I mean, it's not a bad set, especially
it's
into
not.
me. I think that was really good.
Yeah,
It checks Dango really well.
that is the
but then-
misery.
Yeah, the misery, and then just insult to injury, I hit both rock slides. So
Yeah, I mean at that point, if you hit either one, something dies, and then, I hope that the other 3 clean it up regardless. But yeah, I mean, just missing the Draco there is really rough, and I mean, I'm pretty sure if that Draco hits, you go down, and then there's still 3 more turns where, you have to survive with Ribombee and Venusaur in the sun versus Walking Wake.
Venusaur has Protect, and the Ribombee doesn't. Ribombee is a stupid set today. It's running Scarf, and that was just so that I could be faster than a speed boosting Walking Wake and try to Moonblast it, or do some other silly stuff. And
I mean-
so that would have worked fine, except the webs are up, and so it's going to come in and be at -1 speed, and then the Scarf doesn't even get that back to neutral, I think, right? Is that how?
The Scarf,
it's a little
I mean,
over
yeah, it wouldn't get you outspeeding that, so Walking Wake would just pick up the KO if you brought it in. Essentially, it would just be a game of how do I how do I get 2 Pokemon that don't die to Heat Wave on the field, which possible, but it's a hard sell. So yeah, I mean, definitely a little bit bailed out by the Draco miss there, but that's the game. But we just wanted to cover it because I thought the rest of the game was really cool. And I think
this
just
could have
the
very
end
easily
game-
been like a look how cool this Peanut Scratch win from behind was after Diggory threw the game and clicked Make It Rain into Suicune and Charizard. Like, I don't know. People were furious with me when I won this, and I was feeling like I just like got a get out of jail free card in Monopoly after
Yeah.
rolling 3 triples. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I mean, I
Any Monopoly
got
fans
like
out there?
no one's ever played Monopoly before.
Any
We only
Monopoly
play
man?
Pokemon.
Does that guy have a name?
Monopoly Man? I don't know. I just
Is
call
it just
Monopoly
Mr.
Man.
Monopoly?
Mr. Monopoly. It is Mr. Monopoly. You're right.
Okay.
Yeah, no. After this game, I saw the message from Ned in our group chat telling you to buy a lottery ticket. I got a couple other messages just because people sometimes message me about games, and I was just like, I wasn't watching the game at the time, so I just see like 4 messages, and I'm like, something happened here.
Did you get complaints in your inbox?
No, I don't get complaints in my inbox. I just sometimes people message me about the game because they like talking about the game, and I
Wow.
like all that,
I
and I start seeing messages from people, and I was like, he got bailed, and I'm like, something has happened. I have
Hiram
to go
got
watch
on his
this
laptop and he hacked the game. He used his hacks to miss that Draco, or to be missed by the
to
Draco.
dodge it. That's my
To
bright
dodge it.
powder Kirim right there.
Maybe I yelled from the sidelines, "Kiram, dodge it!" And it. What did they say in the games? They like toughed it out so I wouldn't feel
It toughed
sad.
it out so you didn't feel sad. Yeah, no, he certainly did. Well, that's the game. We'll not harp on that too much, but on the whole, I think Peanut played it really well. The Shuckle was really big there. I think obviously some optimizations on there and some optimizations on your end, but I think the game was cool on the whole.
Yeah, cool's the word for it. Goodbye.
Cool for the first 90% of it. See ya.
Just kidding. We still have to do the outro, so we're still here.
Yeah, forgot about that one a little bit, but that's been our week 3. I'm resisting the urge to say pretty good set of matches because just kind of a lot of one-sided matches, so not the best for content with a couple exceptions, of course.
We'll have better matches this week. I'm manifesting good ones.
For sure. We're actually recording at a normal time this time, so we actually don't know how week 4 is gone yet. But yeah, please have some closer matches. I need content.
Yeah, we need content and engagement. I'm pretty sure I had some angry viewers when I won my match, so please leave your hate in the comments. Techno, you can also leave your hate about what we've done to this series in the comments. Mithrix is dead. We got him.
We did get him, so who's the real winner here? But
Yeah, we can get our studio back now. I think we have a lot of good loot to take here. Back to the ship.
yeah, I think all this should sell for more than enough to cover at least a month's rent, and then we can figure it out and get normal jobs that don't potentially get involve us getting killed. So I guess we can just go back to Earth at this point, right?
Pokemon Earth. That's what it's
Pokemon
called.
Earth. My bad, right? That's
Yeah,
where we're going. Yeah,
and
well,
now that we'll have the studio back, I think our videos will be a little more on time as well. So that,
and
hype for
actually
that.
better quality
Well, hopefully.
now that we have equipment. But this place is gonna blow up, right? Correct me if I'm wrong.
Do you see this background? This is equipment made this background.
It's what we're working with, okay?
Yeah. No notes.
This place is gonna blow up. We should leave.
All right. See you guys next week.